You know, when they genetically graft somebody after a smashed in head on the coastlines and their buildings that are empty, grey and black, because I didn't do cancer pink. And that's the old news on the news. It makes people used to killing that kind of intel within the US. And then they get angry. In other words, these chibos, even if they have like $1 million, remain chibos. In the eyes of intelligence, whether you follow me or not, by now it doesn't make a difference. I'm not that girl. I'm a replacement child. So why did they bring back a dead baby? Quite frankly, I don't know. All I know is that when I was in the UN, there were Chinese people in uniforms in 81 countries. You can say 80 without the US. That sat there and used to say that history had happened on the coastlines of the US. In other words, the intelligence hadn't been massacred in North Korea or China. It had lost the intel on US soil. When Disney, or what they call the replacement child, or prop child, came back, a particular corn cob, I had to put up with the most stupid, thoughtless girls I could ever imagine putting up with. And that wasn't even the intel. And their boyfriends. Because, you know, people who take marijuana, who take drugs, who drink, who have their bong nights. Well, unfortunately, I wasn't like that. I'm 51 years old. I did trekkings from the age of 40. It was all the crabby or crawlies to crawlies. Because some people even thought that crab was the original one, but she wasn't. Hello. So it's not a question of your judgment and your knowledge, because your knowledge is as useless as the shit that comes out of my ass. Yes, hi. That's right. Jimmy. Yeah. So, I know that it sounds rude, okay, but you see, politicians, I went to school for free with politicians' children. Reason? Scholarships. And not because I was the original girl, but because that point in history had been made. So as it says, if you were in the UN at the age of, 5, 10, 15, you're born and raised in Rome.
Turn back around.
Yes, thank you. And you do that, and you have the Chinese and the UN saying some history of that girl. And they're saying something big happened, and schools are based on that. The schools are revolving around the science of the UN, of La Sapienza, for instance. So La Sapienza professors will be rompere cazzo to me with the big heads at the age of 5, 10, 15. Tiziano Vienne and the others will be speaking about, oh, look at that building. All those buildings are empty because one girl died with special math, special physics, okay? I didn't do cancer. Cancer is pink. Cancer is Poland. Cancer is Egypt, okay? Like the brother of the mother was the head of sciences in Warsaw. He's 96. He says Poland is cheap. It was Russian Mir, the sciences. Same with Egypt, the cousin of the father, okay? It's Saudi Arabian Mir. The cousin was the science minister. So these are things that I can't change. So if you can lift your fucking ass and reopen my fucking buildings in Massachusetts, in New England, some in New York or in NASA, you go ahead. But that girl had her head smashed on the coastline. So when I hear idiots who say to me, why did you come back in a blimp in time as Disneyland and send me your psychopaths? If you think that by sending psychopath with all the Dr. Parrots, 250 Dr. Parrots, even in Berlin, speaking about Schadenfreude Jr., so you can feel good about your fucking tits and ass. No one asked your opinion. No one asked you to start gossiping about your fucking ass, whether you have a limousine or whether you're a beggar in the US. Nobody cares. They care what's empty on the coastlines. That's why I came back. Cicetta geniazza. Now, again, before I run out of patience at Disneyland. That's not the Paris. So, If you could see the flyings and the runnings and then the girl having her head smashed in on the coastlines from China, then you know that those guys, they do it once. Okay? Now, if you see that there's this property child or tripod or whatever you want to call it, now if the girl had her head smashed in on the coastlines, then you know that genetically speaking, she's a particular corn cob. You could say replacement, pink. But there's blues. How did they make blues? Bringing the religious orders, bringing the intelligence, bring in those guys with the white heads in the UN and in London and Western Europe with the corporations. Huh? So when you say to me, I hope you die, bitch, Disneyland, when you send me psychos, when you say bad things to me, when you send me this shit, it just makes me feel that you're not a fucking country. You're just stupid bitches. That's what they call you, or whores. So if you want to make a prostitute out of me, see where the fuck this goes. Because I can't have 250 Dr. Parrots. Psychiatrists, even in Berlin, speaking about Schadenfreude Jr. and the cheerleading squad of the US that doesn't know how to behave. For the extras with me. Because that's not even mentioning Dirk Jan Van Damme, The Hague and the Bureau de Veritas with the shit that happened on the coastlines. That was where the sciences were and the corporations. Because I don't see Fresno as a base of intelligence for the barons. Nick, I see operations or sciences based in Fresno. Now, if you want to invent cheap shit in Fresno for the parents, you are in trouble. In fact, I wouldn't even say you're in trouble. You are nowhere near those people. You're not even near the blues of that girl after she had her head smashed in on the coastlines and adoption agencies. In other words, the Roman Bazaar, Scotland Film and Radio Global. In other words, if you didn't even get the basics, that's all news on the news that you could see coming from China on the coastlines, then I would ask you either to go to college, to go to elementary, primary school, kindergarten in pink ass, go watch some movies, maybe it will enlighten your sessile, lazy brain. Stop blaming me for being Disneyland. And for fuck's sake, grow some balls and have some courage that Disneyland had in 81 countries, connected us with white globals, and don't start thinking that I'm some kind of billionaire. Genyatzers. Free high school, free university, at 15 free university in London. How? I thought I was a retard. I thought I was a vegetable. I thought I was Disneyland, piece of paper asphalt. And what happened after the smashed head? Oh yes, a crab showed up and crab became my head. I gonna make it. In other words, we made a comedy. We might have even made a comedy with me because I'm not like you. I'm not gonna break down crying. And I'm not a bitch like you either. I'm straightforward thinking, even if I am Disneyland. No, speak about capability and capacities. By the time I finish with you and Disney Mo, you will see what the hell happens. Now, but you in the Intel community made a big fuss about this shit. Those times even brought back a Disney version of that girl. It's wise for you not to send me your psychos, your psychoanalytical abstractions, your I hate you bitch, I'm gonna kill you bitch tomorrow. Because one day, California, whether it's San Francisco, Fresno, or whether it's your spoiled brat sitting here in your limousines, giving me your pompous 5X bras and what you like and what you don't like. What you lost on the coastlines, whether you deny it in the US, is not denied in German airspace, Basel, it's not denied in Italy or Rome, La Sapienza, or the UN, or London with the sciences. Okay? So if I come back for a blimp in time, I'm really sorry if I offended you when that girl was alive. I'm really sorry if I offended your tits and ass that I came back as Disneyland for a blimp in time. 2-1, Holland. Delft. Literally Delft, the city of Delft that is in Holland. Considering that I was born July the 20th of the 21st century, that's what you lost on the coastlines. And that's all news on the news. So fuck off. Considering that I'm a plum and dime and I don't exist after what happened on the coastlines, technically speaking, after smashing somebody's head in, you go bring back a Disney version. Don't dream about the blues, darling, because you don't even know how that fucking happened. Move. Bacterias. And you call them bacterias. Move your ass. Shithead. Now, considering this made the rounds of the world, so many flyings, so many runnings, and then I want to grow some little grows. Well, this is it. For the parents, they're born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities, as in Norilsk and Piasecz. Norilsk is Turk, Piasecz is Russian. That's beyond the capital cities. That's in the Arctic. How about that? Okay. Then, after the war, Mama came to Poland, and Papa from Turk, Saudi Arabia to Egypt. And you can shove it up your hullet. Okay, so they're dark. They were hired as D1s. If you don't know how to respect work for humanitarian relief services in Oslo, that later on near the end became TCUA, men it was Oslo, as long as he was there. And CRS, Catholic Relief Service, and UN, IFAD, anyway, the UN, D1s. Positions in Africa, in South America, and in Asia. They went twice to Iraq, just like even the Forestry Division in the UN had a department for Iraq. So, for the Second War. First or Second War. Anyway, so what I'm saying is, you are inventing so much shit that our people, you see, another phenomenon that I found out. There's a Skokland film, there's Radio Global for Disneyland. And there's also another thing that I'd like to point out to you, nice titties and asses. And your opinions and your blah, 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 and your boyfriends is because that shit on the coastline will not open for even God. Now, the reason you don't like hearing it for Disneyland is okay. I have no pretenses. I realize that I'm not giving a big lecture of pedagogical importance as Disney version of myself, and I'm not. But if you say that that's what happened in 81 countries and that's the old news on the news, it tells us on the inter-communities why that should happen on the coastlines, because you can see it coming from China. And another thing that really made us pissed off was that you could have easily gone to Fresno, this heightened tits and ass of Fresno, and bombed them. So, to be politically correct, they were speaking about the Havana, and not a testing round of Havana. No, Havana. 696969. Like, this happened, the t-shirts. And another phenomenon around the 80 East Coast, London, Rome, also internationals, Russia, Arabia, and even, oh shit, Berlin. Therefore, because Berlin, they're good in sciences. So when the newspaper in London said, is she going to marry the American businessman and kill him, or is she going to marry the German mad scientist and kill him, they were making a joke on the newspaper in London at the age of 17. And I looked at them, I said, this is my second identity, because if you think that I'm capable of killing George O'Connor or Basler, then you know. So, you know, shitsa. Start using your brains and not your assholes, because I can't change an iota of what happened with the sciences on the coastlines, with the corporations. I can't change un cacchio about the big-ass ship to the romantic, really fantastic coastlines, Italians and brutes and island people of the footer, because that cagata is already void. As they say, prophetic void al Vaticano. Considering that the Vatican is based in Rome and not in fucking Californian coastlines or anywhere in the US, I'm warning you. The corporations are not Christian. They're not religious. Let's put it that way. They're not Muslim. They're not Buddhist. They're not, what's the other one? Orthodox Russian. In fact, there's nothing religious that comes into the mind when you think of Delph. Literally. Particularly. Ah, what a genius you are. You managed to go back to kindergarten at the age of 5. And that has been happening how many times on Macrollies and Netrocrollies? You. And you call that Schadenfreude Jr. to give the pains to Disneyland. It makes it feel good to be a shit bitch to Disneyland. Okay. Dirk Van Damme and the others, that's something else on the coastlines. Masegi, Stokatsu the Disneyland, bring in and bring out. Seriously, was a big mistake. Because you're a backward country. Open that shit on the coastlines. Tell me you're more advanced than that girl was, and not pink. Not cancer shithole. Because you couldn't even do the cancer. Why? Because they tried Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna. They even tried DACA, but then they said, you know what? The greys and the blacks were too strong, so they took out the pink. The cancer. Do you understand now what happened on the coastlines? And not that you bring back Disneyland like this so you can have your, I hate your bitch. You must be crazy. Oh yeah? And what about you? What's your fame? Tits and ass. What about a nice PhD? How many articles in science did you publish? I didn't publish shit. I was too busy flying, running. And then, the flyings is above, beyond, behind the library. It's behind the hills. You will not see the mountains from the ground. You have to be behind the hills of the library to see the mountains. There are many flyings and runnings for the parents. Laura Quintus is in the Supreme Court Justice in D.C. Langley defending the father and mother. So is Natalie Direct for their jobs. I went to school with them when I was 5 years old. You think I'm going to be sitting there and waiting for them? No. After what happened to that girl on the crab to crab eat, you know how many times I came out crawling out of that? You know what they say? Better to lose with the most intelligent forever and ever than to win with the stupids. The ex-mayor of Rome, who's 95 and 96 years old, married to the Barilla lady, and I was a caregiver to them about 2-3 years ago in Rome. It's 11 years I'm out of Fresno. I'm 51 years old, and believe me, I'm 51 years old, and I've done so many crawlies, electric crawlies around the capital cities, you have no idea. Kill your ass. In other words, if I offend your sensitivities, please let me know. If they say to you, please, let's stay in Rome for retirement. Please, don't kill Disneyland. Or don't send your psycho cheerleading retards to her. We meant that. And when they say, please, try not to rape her, because she already had her head smashed in on the coastlines, and she's the kind of girl who, if you rape her, she will not call it rape. If you try to fuck with her, she'll say that's nothing. And all the girls, while you little shits are going to be sitting in your limousines and speaking to me about the shit on the coastlines and record breaks and space tech and technology and sciences. Shut up, bitch. I'm the best. You're the best. Sure. And what about Fresno for the parents? Why did I come back? Geniazza? Or shall we go back to the UN? Or shall we go back to the Western European corporations? Or shall we just go back home, Russian Saudi Arabian mayor? What do you think? By now, considering that everybody on the planet heard that, oh yes, the phenomenon. The cats, the dogs, and the birds. What about that? For someone like me, by now, in this format, after the coastlines, to see cats, dogs, birds, and Rome all over us, in London, and Warsaw International. Shit, even the Russians and the Arabs started involving, in their own ways, small animals, because those places, that many times on my crawlies and electric crawlies, you won't say to me I'm nuts. I'll tell you right now who the fuck they think about your sorry ass. Not what they think about me, but what they think about your fucking sorry ass. Excuse me. And that's not even mentioning Fresno for the parents. Oh, Madonna. Listen, I don't know how many times you can post and repost around the capital cities. In fact, I don't even have to post. Just ask the zoo.